You didn't like it that way? Did you like it?
I mean, it's okay. Because we still like when it started, it was already at 20 seconds, but it's no big deal because we're gonna have our intro
But I
soon,
don't
so
think
it'll
it
be.
was on their end. We don't know if it was on their end though.
Oh, okay. Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Sorry,
Hey,
we're a little. We had a little technical difficulties, aka me. Um, but we are here. How's everybody doing? Technically, it is my spring break, but I said, we're not taking no breaks around here. We told y'all we was gonna be consistent.
I asked her if she wanted to take a break, y'all. She said no. It wasn't on me. It was on her. Don't blame me.
Oh, that's a good thing. We've been very consistent. We're on episode number 10. So we have been very consistent this year, sir, so far.
I'm proud of us.
Hey, Quintessential. Hey, the artists. How you doing? You guys come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So listen, we've been picking up a few new subscribers here and there. So for the people who are new to the Teacher Project 2.0, let me just give you guys a quick little rundown. So the Teacher Project 2.0 consists of two co-hosts, myself and Dr. Eddie. We combined together, we probably have over 50 years of experience in education. If you put his 100-year resume with my resume, we have worked on all levels.
Wow.
We have worked on all levels of education, from teacher to administration to curriculum writer to teacher coach, all of those different things. And so we decided that we would get together and we wanted to talk about all the things that are going on in education. And what ended up happening was it was almost lightning in the bottle. We literally started our show in January of 20, 2020. And then we know the world shut down 2 months later. So it sort of shifted things. So that is what we are here, you guys. It's a Teacher Project 2.0. We discuss education, issues in education with a focus on issues that affect our children, students of color, and students who are part of the LGBTQIA community. Thank you, Quintessential, because you always, always, always share us out. So anyway, I just wanted to give that little introduction because we have been picking up some new subscribers, El Teddy. So that way, people that are finding us and all of that, they get a little what we got going on, even though it's in our description box. So, surprise, surprise, you guys. I think 3 of our stories today are connected to Florida.
I thought you was going to say that we didn't have anything in Florida. I was going to be like, oh yeah, that is a surprise. But
No,
Florida,
no, no, no. I would genuinely be surprised if we if we ever did a show that didn't have anything to do with Florida. That would be shock and awe. That was sarcasm that I was giving you a second ago when I said, "Hey,
we are
hey."
we're anticipating a day where we don't have to talk about my great state of Florida. Just anticipating today.
We waiting one of these days. So anyway, with that being said, um, let's get into our first story. Now, let me just give you, we do have a quick update. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it because this is a story that we've covered. We've talked about it extensively. And El Teddy and myself are in agreement that until the state of Virginia does something with the parents, we just don't care anymore. But the teacher who was shot by her student in Virginia, Virginia Beach, the Virginia Beach community, a couple of months ago, she is suing the school system for $40 million. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm here for it. She deserves it. I hope she wins. All $40 million. If I'm on the jury, she winning. What do you think is going to end up happening?
She won't get 40 million.
Yeah, it'll probably settle. She's not going to get 40 million. Yeah, she's not going to get 40 million, but it will settle. And I think that it will. I do think she'll win and she'll get a nice settlement. Because from what we've read, and I know everything we read we can't, but from what we've heard and what we've read about how egregious this situation was, how many warnings they had, and the school's just inability to do anything preventative, even to the fact where they allegedly knew that the student did have the weapon, and their response was, "Well, it's almost the end of the day." And that's alleged. But so anyway, but that's just a quick update. But El Teddy and myself, we both agree
Yo,
that I know you
I'm tired of it. I know that I
parents.
don't have. I know that I don't have the letters JD behind my name or Esquire, but I do know that many states have started to put caps on punitive damages that you can get. Remember, you had the case over it with Tesla and the black guy, and there was an adjudication that was made, but then because the state had a cap on how much you can get for punitive damages, it was lowered significantly. Also, there's a lot of states that's been doing that on both sides of the aisle. So I don't know that she'll get 40 million. She wouldn't have gotten 40 million in her whole lifetime of being an educator. Let's be clear.
Yeah, but I think that she'll get enough that she don't have to worry about teaching for a while. But listen, I could be wrong. I just think that the case is just so egregious. But anyway, so that's just an update. We'll get, again, I'm still waiting to find out what's going to happen to these parents. I'm not understanding why nothing is happening to the parents. But I digress. All right, where do you want to start, sir? Where do you want to start? We have, you want to start with these two stories out of Florida?
Hmm.
Okay. All right.
Let's start with the Broward County labor.
And Broward County, these really your people.
Hmm.
These are really, really your people. Okay. So which one should I read first? Because I know one is connected to the other. Which one should I read first? Florida's
Uh,
answer on behalf of parents,
yes,
or
that one. That one.
yeah,
Read that one
one
first. Hmm.
okay. So we have a story here today that's connected. So as always, we'll drop you guys the link. You should be able to find the link in the description box for this particular video. If you want to follow along with us, or you want to do your own follow up to these stories. Yeah, quintessential. I agree. If Virginia has a cap, I agree. I think she'll get whatever is close to the cap, within that range. I agree. But again, she'll never have to worry about teaching again. All right. This is coming from Fox News. It was published April the 5th. And let's get into it. Florida school board member demands answer on behalf of parents to define what a woman is. No clear-cut answer. A Florida school board member asked during a school board meeting how woman is defined in a proposed sex education curriculum, noting that parents want a clear answer to weigh whether to pull their children out of the district. Broward County Public Schools has been debating on the proposed sex education curriculum since the district reworked the curriculum due to pressure from the Florida Department of Education. At a school board meeting on March the 28th, school board members clashed on defining what a woman is after a public comment period addressed the curriculum. School board member Brenda Pham of District 6 shared questions on what BCPS parents have asked her. Some of my parents have had some questions that I actually posed and didn't get a response for. They wanted to know what the definition of a woman is for sexual education curriculum in Broward County. They want to know what individuals can get pregnant and what individuals can give birth. They want to know those definitions as well. I think this especially with school vouchers and school choice. This is going to weigh heavily on whether or not they choose to leave leave the school system, or whether they stay based on some of these responses. And they are very serious. They want answers to these questions. The superintendent responded, there is no clear-cut answer. They want to know what the definition of a woman is in the sexual education curriculum. The question is more than a question. It is a thought process. It's an examination. A lot of laws based on a lot of things. Broward County School Superintendent Earlene Smiley said. Earlene. I guess I'm procrastinating and hesitating because there's no clear-cut answer I can give you at this point, Smiley added. Fan pushed further by asking why the board is unable to define clearly what a man and a woman is. Another school board member, Sarah Leonard of District 3, responded to FAM, appearing to be irritated by her line of questioning. The curriculum, the policy, the support guide, the goal of all of us being here is to support children and to educate children, Lenardi said, and not to engage in a political line of questioning that distracts from the mission. I just think it is very important that we stick to the purpose of, again, the curriculum, the policy, the support guide, which is to support children and not to get distracted by other agendas. Just to respond to that, the curriculum is required to to fully inform parents, FAM responded, so that they can consent or say no. They do not want to consent to having their child receive sexual education. So I think these are crucial terms. I think they actually are very basic terms that somehow this shouldn't be a difficult response to acquire. The authors of the Family Life and Human Sexuality curriculum said that the BCPS school board will address FAM's question at a later date. So far, it is not immediately clear if the current draft of the curriculum already contains a definition of woman or any other gender-related items. The board will vote on a finalized version of the sex education curriculum at a later date. BCPS did not immediately respond to Fox Digital News for a comment. The FAM's comments come after Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis signed universal school choice into law, resulting in the Sunshine State becoming the fourth state to pass such law. We've covered that in earlier podcasts. School choice became a salient issue after COVID-19 induced lockdown sparked a conversation on the scope of the government's authority and the type of content that should be taught to school from public school curricula. DeSantis' policies underscore the phenomenon of parents across the country paying closer attention to school boards by challenging progressive books they deem contesting books deemed appropriate. So we had a whole school board conversation about the definition of a woman. Exactly, quintessential. It seems that they were trying to ask about trans instead of saying it. They're going all around Robin Hood's barn. Any comments? Because I know there's a part 2 to this story. Any comments on this
My
part of the
thing
story?
about it is this: why don't you leave curriculum to people who have expertise in the area? I don't think the school board meeting is the place to come up with these denotative devices. There should be, if there are experts in science that develop the curriculum for sex ed, that have done the research, that have expertise, that have scientific deductions and reasoning and all of this, these are the people who should be saying, here's the definition right here. We'll send that up the chain of command for approval from the school board. What you should be doing, and the superintendent's answer was supposed to be, listen, although the state may not have clear cut answers to that question, we do have staff and personnel who work in curriculum in our science instructional team. They are the ones who will be deriving and putting into place what these denotative devices are. When they do that, it will go through the proper training and protocol as any other curriculum that we approve on this board. It would be like them over here deciphering, because see, they don't have these conversations in other subjects. Are you over here discussing what is and is not a derivative? We're not having no discussions. We're not having discussions on misplaced modifiers and dangling participles and Rather, you need the extra period on the ellipsis if it falls at the end of a sentence. We're not having those discussions about that, but we want to break down and dissect this because, like another board member said, this is a political line of questioning. And I think the superintendent handled this completely wrong. There was a way to answer the question and get her off of you because that's why you have protocols and procedures in place for everything to include curriculum. You don't. When have you really? When have you ever seen them say we just gonna break down curriculum like this at this granular level at the school board?
Not at no school board meeting.
This is not the place for that. And they let this woman take control of the meeting. Where is the institutional control?
Obviously.
That's a
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
mess.
Well, you want to get to part two of this story?
Because Miss Pham had a whole lot of questions. I bet you she don't want to bring this up in the school board meeting.
All right. Well, let's get to part two. Dropping this link in the chat. Exactly, quintessential. Let's talk about points, slope formulas, okay? All right. Two Broward County school board members face touching allegation. Chair calls for an investigation. This is April the 5th. Remember that name we just mentioned? Well, let's get back to it. The Broward School Board will consider hiring an independent investigator following separate accusations of inappropriate touching by two newly elected board members, according to official documents. The claims are against board members Brenda Pham, who holds the District 6 seat, and Alan Zeman, who holds the countywide at-large seat 8. The board's April 11th meeting agenda package shows they were both elected to the school board in November. Does that name sound familiar to you, El Teddy? Brenda
Mm. Oh,
Pham.
Brenda Pham? Mm, mm. But you want to know what a woman is?
Brenda
Interesting.
Pham.
Mm.
The board voted yes Tuesday at Tuesday's meeting. It would authorize interim superintendent Earlene Smiley and the district's general counsel Marilyn Batista,
Batista.
to hire an outside investigator. That's what I just said, Batista. And I said Batista.
Hmm. Hmm. I know
And the
her. That's
further
right.
vote would allow school board chair Lori, but I said it right. Anyway, Lori Aldahef to submit a written notification to Governor Ron DeSantis pending the outcome of the investigation and if misconduct is found, according to the agenda item. The agenda item will also authorize Aldahef to highly recommend both school board members redistrict their attendance at school district and community events to school board meetings, public hearings, and workshops pending outcome of the investigation. The allegations were according to the item. All did not respond to us for comment. In the case of Pham, the district touched him on March 27th at the Signature Grand in Davies Sun Sentinel first reported. Pham told the newspaper that she inadvertently brushed against someone with her hand at an awards banquet, but didn't specify where on the body it was. In an email to the Miami Herald Tuesday, he said she asked the call for it again. I will cooperate forward to the conclusion
I
of the
don't know if it's
investigation.
my really. I don't know if it's my computer or yours.
And
But it's really breaking up on
the
my end.
second is
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is it
it's
me? It's
probably
really
my
breaking
computer.
up. I don't know. Let me ask the chat.
I
Chat,
can't
is
hear
it breaking up?
mine.
It may be yours. I don't know. Is it breaking up for y'all in the chat? I don't know.
It's
It
probably
could be
mine.
my computer.
I try to close everything I could close. It's probably mine, but okay.
or it may be mine. Nobody said it was breaking up. Oh, they said somebody said it is kind of breaking up on their end too. Let me if you want, go out and come in, and I'll finish the article for you, and maybe that'll work.
All right. Okay.
Let me go back a paragraph. In the case of Pham, an 18-year-old student allegedly told the district that she touched him on the buttocks during an event on March 27th at the Signature Grand in Davie, the Sun Sentinel first reported. Pham told the newspaper that she, quote, inadvertently brushed against someone, end quote, with her hand at an awards banquet, but didn't specify where on the body it was. Pham, in an email to the Miami Herald Tuesday evening, said she respects the call for an investigation. Quote, I will cooperate and look forward to the conclusion of the investigation as the full story and truth is revealed, end quote, she said. In the second incident, a male employee told then Superintendent Vicky Cartwright in December that Zeman had hit him on the buttocks, the Sentinel reported. The employee told the newspaper in February that he made Cartwright aware of the situation. I'm sorry, let me read that again. The employee told the newspaper in February that he made Cartwright aware of the situation and informed her he didn't wish to file a complaint. Zeman told the Herald in a phone call Tuesday evening that, quote, every complaint needs to be heard and every complaint with credibility needs to be investigated, end quote, but said that the Broward Schools employee involved in the alleged incident, which he has called a nothing burger, hasn't filed a complaint. Quote, the other participant in what was alleged was not offended, did not feel like anything was inappropriate or improper. So much so that he did not file a complaint. In fact, he made it clear that he does not intend to file a complaint, he added. And that's the whole story. So you got Brenda Pham around here trying to ask people what a woman is and trying to have all of this political discourse and commentary in the middle of this school board meeting. Wait till we get to the school board meeting where we have to unpack and unravel the whole investigation of you touching an 18-year-old student on the buttocks.
I mean, and you worried about what the definition of a woman is. You need to be worried about what the definition of some other things are, ma'am.
I want her to have this same energy. I want her to have all of these lined up questions. I want her to have the same dialogue. I want her to go and poll all of the parents from her. Remember, she said, "Oh, I received all of these questions from parents in my district." Well, I want you to go back to your district and get the same number of questions from the same number or more parents about you touching the buttocks of a male student, allegedly, inadvertently, according to you. He obviously didn't feel that way.
Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. All right. Am I better now? See, now it looks
Yes.
like my internet is getting weak again. It's like it was strong when I first came in, and now it looks like it's getting weak again. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Anyway, all right. So we have what time is it? Okay, yeah, we got a couple of more stories. So let me go to the story that I sent you on
On the newspaper or on the statue.
yeah, you want to do the newspaper or you want to do the statue? Which one you want to do?
It doesn't matter to me.
All right, well, let's start with this newspaper. Let's start with this newspaper situation, child. Seems like it's all the same stuff every week over and over again. Just an attack, an attack, an attack, an attack. Oh no. Oh well. I did the wrong one, but we'll go with it. I did the statue one, but we'll just go with it and we'll do the newspaper last.
Okay.
Mich- so this is coming from NBC News. This is March the 31st. Okay. Coming out of Hillside, Michigan. A Michigan college has ended its partnership with a Florida charter school whose principal was forced to resign after a parent complained that sixth graders were exposed to pornography during a lessons on Renaissance art that included Michelangelo's David. So parents are now calling Michelangelo's David pornography. All right, let me keep reading. A Hillside College spokesperson said Tallahassee Classical School, and then you had the name, your title is Classical School, is no longer affiliated with the small Christian classical liberal arts college in southern Michigan. Them around teaching Michelangelo's David sculpture, one of the most important works of art in existence, has become a distraction from a parody of the actual aims of classical education. A spokesperson, Emily Stack Davis, wrote in a statement. Of course, Hilldale's K-12 art curriculum includes Michelangelo's David and other works of art that depict the human form. Tallahassee Classical School was licensed to use Hillsdale's classical education curriculum, but its license was revoked and will expire at the end of this school year. Hillside provides K-12 curriculum, a partnership with dozens of charter schools across the country. The Florida school principal, Hope, I'm not going to butcher that woman's name, resigned last week following an ultimatum from the school board's chairman. Um, the principal, or former principal, told Tallahassee Democrat one parent complained the material was pornographic, and two other parents said they wanted to be notified of the lesson before it was given to their children. The instruction also included Michelangelo's creation of Adam, painting the body. I always say this wrong.
Botticelli.
Thank you. I always say it wrong. Botticelli's Birth of Venus. Thank you. I always say that wrong because I always want to. Anyway, I always say it wrong. Tallahassee Classical School did not immediately respond to phone messages left Thursday seeking comment. After the principal resigned, the Florence Museum housing the David on Sunday invited parents and students from Tallahassee Classical School to visit the statue in person. Florence's mayor also tweeted an invitation to the principal so he could personally honor her. The David statue nudity has been part of centuries-old debate about art pushing boundaries and the rules of censorship. In the 1500s, metal fig leaves covered the genitals of the statues like the David, when the Roman Catholic Church deemed it as immodest and obscene. So, how do we feel?
Um, I think where they went wrong was not because if you know you're going to cover the Renaissance art, you know that there is nudity in the Renaissance art. My question is, why is the principal resigning? Because last time I checked, I don't think the principal is the one that was teaching this course. That's the whole thing I didn't understand the whole time this story has been in the news cycle. Why is the principal resigning? And I just feel like a simple, hey, we're covering Renaissance art. There are times where there will be full frontal male nudity and or female nudity in some of the examples. If you have if you would not like your child to participate in it, then here's your opt-out form. Your child can be placed in another class and get alternate assignments at that time. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how it happens in education. I mean, really, do we not do this multiple times per year? Multiple,
I mean, I know when I used to show
especially on the middle
Roots.
school level. Especially on the middle school level.
Yeah, when I used to show Roots, I would let the parents know. Listen, because the first episode is female nudity. I remember we had a teacher that did I don't know why things. And she sent a letter home to parents, let the parents know this is we're going to be reading this novel, information that's covered, blah blah blah. But again, I feel like did these people go to school? Like who hasn't seen the David? Like it is what it like it's Renaissance art. I don't know. Like do you guys realize that your kids are listening to Cardi B, Glorilla, and Meg The Stallion, and y'all worried about David? Statue of David? I mean, I don't know. I'm
Mind
just
you,
sick of it.
if
I'm
your
I'm
kids
just sick
got
of
their
it.
own, if your kids got their own cell phone, they're probably looking at all types of stuff on their cell phone anyway.
You better say it again. I don't know. It just it once again, here we are. And this so they basically saying, you know what, if you don't like our curriculum, guess what? You don't have to use it. And they revoked their
I'm
license
glad.
to even use their curriculum. And I'm
Hmm.
about to say, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy for them. Good for them. Good for them. Because at a certain point, it's just ridiculous. It's too much, and it's ridiculous at a certain point. And I just feel like
I mean, if we're just being honest, I mean, you could confuse David's peen with pubic hair as small as it is on that statue. It ain't nothing to be like, oh, girl, please, lady, please let it go.
and don't get me wrong, kids are gonna be kids. Like I remember seeing David, and I remember us snickering and ooh look, but that's also a part of being a kid. Like that's what kids do.
And
I
that's a part
remember that
of learning to be mature as well. That's a part of the educational process, teaching
exactly,
them to be
exactly.
exposed to these things so they're not 20 years old laughing and giggling at a doggone statue of David. You know what I'm saying? Like they're in sixth grade. So,
I just it and I think that's the part that we're missing. That there's so much socialization that goes on at the school that we are not acknowledging, accepting, and allowing the natural form of maturity to happen. The natural flow, the natural, like this is what happens. This is what maturity looks like. This is the ABCD of maturity, and it has to go through this process. Like you said, that's part of my job as a teacher. When I showed my kids roots, it was a 2-second clip of women bathing themselves in the water in Africa. Well, what was the bigger story? Me teaching our kids about our history and how, one version of how we got here, because we know there are many ways, but one version of how we got here in the African slave trade and that whole, what I was teaching them, or those 10 seconds of women in the water bathing and you saw a breast. Like, come on, parents. Like, y'all really, we gotta stop. And then what pissed me off too was one parent started this. Like, one parent was mad. So
it's
the
always
whole world stops because one parent
it's
is mad.
always one parent. Listen, quintessential. A streetcar named Desire was in my summer reading list going into AP Lang, going into AP Language, going into 11th grade. A streetcar named Desire was certainly on that summer reading list. And a streetcar named Desire got a whole lot going on in that novel. And baby, there wasn't no consent forms or anything sent home. Baby, it was my AP teacher said, my 11th grade AP teacher came to our 10th grade class. Here's the summer reading list. Please have all 20 books read before you come to my class in September. It was a list of 20, and we had to have the mugs read by the time we got to her class in September.
Mm, mm, mm.
I remember reading a streetcar named Desire. That book got a lot going on. I'm just saying.
I don't know if I've ever read the book. I've seen the movie. I don't know if I've ever read the book.
Now, the book, very big. But like I said,
Oh,
a simple consent form would have alleviated this. But then you have the parents. See, my concern is not the two parents who said send a consent form home. My concern is that one parent that said, this is pornographic. Because that would have been the parent that would have said, No, it's not good enough for you to offer me a consent form. I don't think no child should have to see that. And
Right, right.
there's where we
The
have
parents,
the
right.
issue.
The parents who said, "Listen, let me know when y'all are getting to that chapter." I don't have no issue with that. I'm
But
cool
the
with that.
problem is the problem
Like
is
you said,
that
it's the parent that said,
you have one parent that decides that what they make the determination on what is or is not good for every child, and that's unfair because there are parents around this country who are some of the most racist, discriminatory, and bigoted people on the face of the planet, and they are not the ones who should be charged with deciding what should and should not be a part of educational institutions.
and that is why I said the one parent. And I know what you said is that one parent, but that's what I said. That one parent, like we gotta stop. We've got to stop. I don't know. We're just on this collision course, and I just it's okay. Moving on. All right. Well, we have this last story for you guys. Um, I'm sorry. It is dealing with. Let me make sure I pull the right one this time. Okay, here it is, right here. Because I meant to pull this one the last time and I hit the wrong one. This is also coming from NBC News. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat so if you guys want to follow. Am I still choppy? Am I good, El Teddy?
It's going in and out, but you're good right now.
Okay. All right. Hold on. What's going on? Okay, here we go. Sorry, my computer is moving so slow. 18 likes. Can we get 5 more likes? We got 25 people in the room. Yep. Can we get the? But that's good though. How we got 18 likes? We doing pretty decent. But yeah, yeah. Keep liking it up. All right. Last story, you guys. This is coming out of Michigan. I mean, no, Lincoln, Nebraska. Where I get Michigan from, child? This is coming out of Lincoln, Nebraska. We don't get a lot out of Nebraska, El Teddy. We don't get a lot out of Nebraska.
Do we want a lot out of
This is
Nebraska?
well, no. This is March 31st. Lincoln, Nebraska. A former high school journalist and the Nebraska High School Press Association sued Friday over a school district's shutdown of the school newspaper after it published an LGBTQ focused edition. The federal lawsuit claims that Grand Island Northwest Public Schools and its superintendent violated the U.S. Constitution's First Amendment in May when it closed the Viking Saga newspaper at the Grand Island Northwest High School, which has about 700 students. The district later agreed to bring the newspaper back in digital form. It's hard to find words for what it felt like watching people who were supposed to be supporting our education instead silence us for covering issues impacting our lives. Marcus Pinelli, the former student suing the district, said in a statement, "I was crushed." An email message left with the school district superintendent, Jeffrey Edwards, was not immediately returned. Edwards last year called the shutdown an administrative decision. Saga newspaper staff were informed of the newspaper's elimination 3 days after printing its June edition, which included an article titled Pride and Prejudice, LGBTQIA+, about the origins of Pride Month and the history of homophobia. It also included an editorial opposing a Florida law dubbed by critics as Don't Say Gay, that bans some lessons on sexual orientation and gender identity. On May 22nd, emails from a school employee canceling the paper's printing services said it was because the school board and superintendent are unhappy with the last issue's editorial content. Some school board members publicly stated their objection to the saga's LGBTQ content. The lawsuit also states that Purnell, who is transgender, was told on March 22nd that he and others could only use names assigned to them at birth in their bylines and that they could not list their pronouns. The lawsuit seeks a declaration that the district violated the law as well as unspecified damages. Grand Island is a city of about 52,300 residents, about 150 miles west of Omaha. What you think about this, Doc?
It's the continued assault on LGBTQ youth. I it's so amazing how people get so pissed out of the shape about pronouns. I sent an email from my to an outside person from work, and this man, it was a white man, sent me back this scathing email about, oh, because on my email is, it has my name and it has in parentheses he him for my pronouns. Oh my God, he went on this. He was a leader writing me a four-page letter, but he did not enclose it with a gift. Baby telling me about how horrible that was, and how this is everything wrong about America because I put my pronouns in my name. Mind you, everybody in our company has their pronouns in their signature. Everyone. Anyway, the fact that you are here, I understand the role of education is when students do things they are supposed to do. You are supposed to guide them and say, no, that's not what you do. No, let's stop this there. But let's be clear, this is not that case. Every club and organization at a high school has a sponsor, a faculty or staff sponsor. Why? Because before something gets sent out for public consumption, or something is officially done using school funds or anything, these things are vetted out by that school sponsor, who then has to send it up the chain of command to who's ever in charge of activities or you know clubs or and things like that. Now, I'm sure there's a member of the administrative staff that gives the final say so and go ahead for the school newspaper. Okay, so you're talking about the newspaper sponsor, then the who's a member of the faculty and or staff, then a member of administration who had to give the green light because that edition got printed. They stopped the printing of a subsequent edition because they didn't like the edition where it had the LGBTQ plus content. And then y'all going off on students telling them that they're not allowed to put pronouns next to their name and they have to go by their government birth issued name. Well, here's my thing about that. Y'all are so hell bent on parent consent and so forth. You ever ask their parents if they were okay with that? I'm just asking. If I'm telling you I'm okay with my child putting their pronouns in next to their name or using another name besides their birth name, who are you? Y'all are all here raising the flags and carrying the banner and standard for parent, 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 parent control, parent decision, parental choice, only when the parents align to what you think they should align with. Because if I'm a parent and I say I'm perfectly okay with my child going by another name, I'm perfectly okay with my child using these pronouns. My child told you that's what they want to go by. That's what you call them. That's what they write on their paper. I just,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not.
say this,
And if you notice, I'm keeping myself from getting passionate about this because
right?
I
Nope.
find myself getting very upset about these issues because it's maddening, and I'm really trying to do a good job of subduing my passions and really trying to have a level head about this. So I'm going to hand it over to you before I spike out.
No. So this is what I'm gonna say, and I don't have a JD behind my name nor Esquire as well, but because this is a public school, and I'm not up on Nebraska school law as far as if they've passed any of these don't say gay bills like we have down in Florida. And yes, Tracy, we did still find a way to bring Florida into this article. Florida was mentioned. But because this is a public school, if there is no legislation already on the books that restricts, like the don't say gay or the curriculum or what have you, I feel like they'll win this case. And it could even be a landmark case. It could be a case that would go, maybe in our current climate, maybe go to the state Supreme Court at the very least. Because for all the things that LTD just said, first of all, there are things in place that there were so many doors or obstacles or what's the word I'm looking for? That's not the word I'm looking for. But anyway, safeguards, I guess, in place to stop certain things from being printed. So obviously, everybody on the school level found it because the newspaper came out. For them to be restricted to the not putting the pronouns and not being able to use their name, their current name. I feel like this is something, especially again under this current climate, that could go forward and possibly set precedent. Freedom of speech is plain. First Amendment is plain. There's already been legislation as it relates to freedom of speech within the schools. LTD, the case I'm thinking of where the young lady wore the black band to protest the Vietnam.
Oh, yeah.
It's escaping me at this exact moment.
Oh God, yeah. And then there was the other one about the flag too. There was two. There's two big ones. There's one with the band, with the armband, and then there's the one with the flag. Um, I can't, but I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Right. The decision with the armband, again, it was from the 1970s because it dealt with students who were wearing a black armband to protest the Vietnam War. The principal told them they couldn't wear it. They got suspended. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the decision ultimately was, as long as they're not wearing something that could incite violence or incite riot isn't the word, but you know what I'm saying. So you can't wear a t-shirt to school that says, and it's funny because didn't we read a case about this about 2 years ago about people wearing Trump stuff and Black Lives Matter, and it went right back to that court case. So I feel like, honestly, in my opinion, I feel like the students could possibly win this case. Again, I don't have no JD behind my name, and I'm not up on all of the different legislation that's currently going on in Nebraska as it relates to transgender LGBTQIA students. But if the school let it go through and it went through the proper channels within the school, this is a public school getting public money. These students have a right to express themselves, and it doesn't sound like they were trying to incite anything. It sounds like they were trying to educate during Pride Month, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's a mess. I don't know.
Oh man.
It's like we can't catch a break. It's like it's coming left, it's coming right, it's coming uppercut. I mean, dang. The kids can't even write about the history of Pride and write an editorial on a bill that they disagree with. We can't even do that now.
And nope, can't put no pronouns next to your name either. Did not do that. Listen, I grew up during the time where we had some students that was not. I grew up during the time when we had some students that were not trans by any stretch of the imagination, and it would have did me a whole lot, and it would have been very useful for me to have some pronouns behind their name, because baby, I see some people, I was like, oh, hey, I would have loved to have been that. What are your pronouns? Boo? Can you tell me your pronouns? Because baby, I don't know what you are. Think about that sketch on Saturday Night Live back in the early 90s. Pat, remember Pat from Saturday Night Live in the early 90s, where they would always cut away when she was about to go he or she was about to go in the bathroom, and they would have all of these situations where people didn't know whether it was a man or a woman, and it was just Pat. I feel like that there were a lot of people who were questionable growing up, and they were not trans by any stretch of their imagination. It was just like, yeah, that's Pat. Like, okay.
Did
What's
we
your
ever
name?
find out?
Tony.
Did we
I
ever
don't
find
know if we
out?
ever found out who
I
Pat
don't
was,
think we ever did.
whether Pat was man or woman.
Tracy, you know what? Tracy brings up a good point. Tracy says, what's the difference between using a pen name and using their preferred name when it comes to writing? So again, it goes back to this the legal precedent. So if I write for the school newspaper, but I want to write under a pseudonym, and instead of writing my real name, let's say I want to write under Really BTV because I have a column, it's a gossip column, or it's a an advice column, and I want to write under Really BTV. What's the difference between that and a transgender student saying, hey, I want to use my current name, my new name, rather than my dead name?
Hmm.
That's a good point, Tracy. That is a very,
Hmm.
very valid point.
That's right. Yep.
Listen, you better say it again, Yana. They better start worrying about regulating banks. Listen, this ain't the platform for this, but El Teddy, I know you are on it on your platform with the disengaging from the US dollar situation. I know you
Listen,
do that.
listen. That is going global. That is blowing up, and that's catching fire in Africa and in Southeast Asia,
Yeah.
and those are two areas where, and then that's going to spill right over into the Middle East. It already has actually, but because Africa has quite a few dealings with the Middle East, and they are no longer, they have disavowed themselves from the U.S. dollar and no longer using it. China and several other Southeast Asian countries have also said, "Baby, we want no parts of this U.S. dollar. Sorry, we won't be taking it here." Mm-hmm.
Right. Folks'
Mm-hmm.
birth name is Charlie, but in school he's called Roger. I've seen that several times. Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. People who
What
go
about
by,
somebody
you
named
go to high
William that says, "I'm gonna go by Bill"? How is it any different?
right. Or let's say at home, like this happened to a friend of mine, her daughter. At home we called her one thing, and when she got to school, of course, they called her by her first name that's on her roll. But by the end of the school year, everybody was calling her by the name we called her at home because that's just, she knew what her real name was. Her name was Valerie, but we called her something else. You know what I mean? We had a, and it wasn't. I think we called her by her middle name. It wasn't even a nickname. But like you said, it happens. So what is the difference? What's the difference, people?
Listen, sometimes you need the pronouns because I know several men named Ashley and several men named Tracy. Hell, my brother's name is Elise, Elyse. And if you look at just their names, guess what you would think? That they were women, and they're not. They're actually men.
Do
Very,
all your
very, very much men.
do all your people start with E's?
Yes,
Oh, because I know the reason why. Because I know another one of your brother's name is an E,
yeah, they're
and we know your name is
E.
El Teddy. So
except for except for the twins. The twins, they're not, they're the only ones. They're the only boys, I should say, that don't start with E.
Yana said that she was hoping that Dr. El Teddy would elaborate on the politics of it all. Oh, I'm sure he is because I've been seeing it. And did you see? Okay, we're gonna get out of here because now we're going left. But you saw the Cash App.
Yeah, he died. The something happened at 2 o'clock in the
Oh,
morning. Something happened for you to begin stabbed at 2:30 in the morning. Stabbed, and they said he was alive when the people came, but the stab wounds were so bad that he succumbed to his injuries.
child.
Hmm.
Right.
Something happened.
Yana said, my son doesn't go by his given name at school or church. I'm the only one who calls him by his legal name. But that's what I'm saying. It happens all the time. So again, I would love to. I think I'm gonna make a note because I'll forget. I'm gonna make a note of this. Well, I have it on our spreadsheet. I've added this article to the spreadsheet we've been keeping up with. We told you guys we would keep up with the stories we do so we could keep account of the states. But I want to keep up with this story because I really think this lawsuit. I think if it actually goes to a trial, I think they have a very good chance of winning because it does sound like their First Amendment rights were violated. I don't
Hmm.
know though. Like I said, I didn't go to nobody's law school, so you never know, child. All right, you guys, we get ready to get out of here. Thank you guys for being here. Our faithful are always here. If you are new here, you can come down and say hi, leave us a comment under a video. Please subscribe. Tell your friends'
Bobo
friends.
says everybody calls him Cookie.
Everybody calls Bobo Cookie. um, so yeah, that's what I think we need to do. El Teddy, final thoughts, and then I'm done.
Um, Final thoughts. Listen, I'm off the grid probably until Tuesday. I got a lot going on. I'm gonna be traveling. For the next about 2 weeks or so, I'm really gonna be off the grid. You're not gonna see a lot of me. You may see me the middle of next week. But it's gonna be very spare. I'm gonna try to get some reviews out as I can, but I got so much going on over the next 2 weeks between now and the 20th of April. It's gonna be crazy. So pretty much strength in the Lord.
Amen. Praise the Lord. All
Praise
right,
Him.
you guys. Um, we can ready to hop over on my side and talk about Tasha K.
Your favorite person.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. Tasha K.